Welcome back to the morning show. It is that time of the morning where we need to throw in some inspiration. But this past weekend, we witnessed a thrilling conclusion of the Highveld horse racing season as we wrapped up the World Sports Betting Championships with an incredible finale that took place out in Turffontein. Two women that have been at the forefront of the exponential growth of the equestrian sport in the country is the CEO of Fundi Racing, Fundi Sithebe, and director of the Racehorse Owners Association and horse owner herself, Jessica Motaung. They join me this morning right here on the morning show as they are our Inspirational Women of the Week. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Are you well?
Yeah, we're well. Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you in the studio. I mean, Fundi, welcome back. I mean, it's been great. It's been a great horse racing season so far. Wrapping up the Highveld season and concluding it. How have you assessed this season so far?
Oh, Obi, it's been just such an exhilarating season. So what we did deliberately was to package this whole season, being our summer season, into what we call the championships. So we had a leg, so we had 5 different legs, and the final ultimate leg was the championships finale on Saturday.
Sure.
And what's interesting was the horse that won the main race, being Puerto Manzano, was the same horse that won in the Summer Cup. So all eyes on Puerto Manzano to go through to the Durban July, because
Sure.
it's all literally leading to the next.
I want to find out what Keegan Demelo and Eli Mufile because all of a sudden, every race he gets the big wins. The Mufile Keegan Demelo just...
Well, I mean, he's a good jockey, you know. That's the one thing that's
Sure.
nice. Like, well, congratulations to him and well
Sure.
done to Lawrence Werner and the family.
I mean, I want to touch on, because you are a horse race owner as well. I mean, I want to touch on, the growth of the sport itself. I mean, how have you, assessed it? I mean, from a point of view of not as, people who are running the sport at the back, but people who are, adding more in regards to, assisting the jockeys and the horses themselves. How have you viewed the growth of equestrian sport within the country so far?
Well, when I came in, it was really at an all-time low. And it's, to ask me that question is very significant, because I've seen, first of all, just seen the work that's been done with Fundi Racing and Fundi and them coming in and really establishing new initiatives. And being on the Race Owners Association, seeing the initiatives we've combinedly done together and making sure that we look after the grooms. And I'm sure Fundi will speak to the benefits that's been put in place. But also, you see the growth with the investment that's going in. And I must say, these last sales were amazing. The sale of horses, which means more people are investing in the game. And the product is a lot better that's been offered on the TV screen as well.
Fundi, I mean, it was an exceptional race that we witnessed this past weekend. I mean, wrapping it up, you did say that, the winners of this is, sort of preparing them for the next day in July. I want to, just bring people into the world of horse racing itself. I mean, people look at it and they think, they're thinking the glitz and glam, they're thinking the fashion and all of that. But, from your point of view as someone who's really on the ground with horse racing, what it's all about, just give us a little bit more on the sport itself.
Geez, Obi, I think we're going to have to have a whole lesson on the value chain.
Sure.
Because you obviously start with the breeders, what you call a stud farmer. We've got, I think I mentioned it in the last time I was with you, we've really got some world-class breeding farms in South Africa. And then you obviously, then the sales Jessica mentioned, which is like an auction, you buy a horse, then you allocate it to a trainer. We've got some brilliant trainers in South Africa, like a Mike de Kock, who's known around the world, a Sean Terry, etc., etc. From there, you have an owner, obviously. And incidentally, I also had a horse on Saturday running, and she won.
Sure, congrats.
And thank you. And what the story is you don't have to own a horse by yourself. So we are a ladies syndicate. There's 10 of us in this particular ownership of Mrs. Geriatrics, and she won what's called a grade 2, so she's going to be moving on to the next kind of race.
Sure.
So we also want to say, working with ROA, to say you can own, whether it's a hoof or an ear, a horse, a tail, whatever
Sure.
it is, you can also be part of that, because the thrill of winning is a thrill of winning, right? Then you've got the jockeys. We've already spoken about the Keegan Demelos, the Smanga Kumalos, who go through 5 years of intense training. Over and above that, we've got the beautiful, amazing grooms. I always say the grooms will half of the time know your horse better than even the trainer, because they wake up with the horses, they train with the horses, they give medication to the horses, they know the itches, the nigglies. And so that is the full value chain. Over and above that, you've got the people that come to the race course for the fun of it, but you've also got the punters that put money on the sport. Behind the scenes is obviously the betting stuff that we do, and obviously the broadcast that we're responsible for. So it is a huge, huge value chain. It is a huge process of coordinating, but much loved and much appreciated.
Sure. You two ladies are our Inspirational Women of the Week. So we want to bring in a bit of, inspiration here around the circle. And Fundi, you're talking about the sport. And from my point of view, is that it's such a male-dominated sport. Same as Jess. I mean, you guys are, running in two sports that is so male-dominated. Starting with you, Fundi, I mean, some of the challenges that you come across, what are they and how do you deal with them on a day-to-day basis to not even let them, affect you, throughout your day?
Sure, yeah, it's a constant battle every single day. If I look at my career, every single job I've had was to literally test the status quo. It's like, okay, people can't think I can exist as a black woman in this space. I'm going to show them. So it literally is that. But I think with horse racing particularly, it is very much white male dominated. And part of my mandate, or part of why I'm here, is to make sure that the broader population knows about horse racing, that we as women are involved, but also make sure that we leave it a better place for other women following in our footsteps, a lot easier than what we've had to face.
I like where Fundi leaves us, just because now it leads me to my next question, because you've been involved in football for such a very long time, and I want to know from your point of view, do you feel like there's been a lot of growth in terms of women coming into the industry of sports as a whole? Is that something that you're also seeing happen over the years?
No, I'm definitely seeing a growth, and it's been wonderful to be sitting in the board of governors at the PSL or in other boardrooms where I've seen more women in the space. I think they still categorize it or still put women in particular positions, but I'm seeing more passionate women who are really making way for themselves within those tables, in those boardrooms, and in those spaces.
Sure. In closing, Kaizer Chiefs, they're playing today. They're playing again at the end of the week, of course, in the Soweto Derby. What can we look forward to in regards to, are there any activations that are coming up? And also, what's the mood feeling like in camp? I'm pretty sure,
Well, first of all, two derbies. We're playing Swallows today in Polokwane, so I'm encouraging our supporters to come in big numbers. But certainly excited about the Nedbank semi-final that's happening over the weekend. Definitely lots of activations, lots of press conferences. There's going to be a lot of talk, but ready for the game. And our ticket sales are going nicely, so very excited.